Do you get nervous when thinking about sharing your expertise? Really putting yourself out there? Did you know you have a lot to share that can help people in huge ways, but you don't want to? For whatever reason it might be, sometimes you may feel hesitant to share your expertise. Sometimes you may feel a little hesitant to put yourself really out there, right? Well, today on Legacy Builders, I want to share with you why you have a responsibility, even an obligation, to share your expertise with others.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Legacy Builders. We talk often on this show about sharing your expertise. And today we're going to talk about what to do when you maybe don't want to share your expertise, or maybe you're afraid to share your expertise. And really, we're diving into this belief that we have that you actually have a responsibility to share your expertise. So, Bryan, you believe deeply that we as humans have a responsibility to share our expertise. Tell me more about why that's something we should all be thinking about.
Well, really, there's a few reasons. First, I want to go to the self-education industry. So first, I want to note that the industry is exploding, right? According to Forbes.com, it's exploding to $1 billion a day. So this creates a massive opportunity, and it happens to be in the self-education industry. And I always say the reason for that is because traditional education is broken at best. Trial and error is for the birds. And people are waking up to the idea that they need to find specialized knowledge and people who have the results they want, and they need to hire them in multiple capacities. They can hire them to do it for them. They can hire to do it with them, and they can hire it where they can learn from them on their own time, right? Like your courses and your webinars and your challenges and these type of things. So if we understand that premise, self-education is exploding. It's growing from 400 million a day to $1 billion a day. That's a pretty significant increase in growth by 2025. So we've got several years before we get to that place. It will eventually go beyond that, $1 billion a day. First of all, this creates a massive opportunity. This is an opportunity that should give you confidence in the industry itself, showing you that there's room for growth and there's room for you to capitalize on it. Think about it. What's your goals? You're 7-8 figures, right? 7 to 8 figures is a very small percentage of $1 billion a day. Okay, so there's more than enough room. So I want you to take that thought out of your mind, like there's not enough money in the market, or there's not enough money in my niche. In fact, some niches, you'd be very surprised of how much money there is to make in those particular small niches, right? So that's number one, is that I believe that if you have accumulated experience and results that others want, I believe that it's your duty to share that with others, to pass that wisdom on, really to pass the torch of your knowledge and your skills and your expertise to others so you can help them. And that leads us to point 2, which is, I think this is really how we advance society in the world. It's through helping others produce great results. I believe the world will be a better place if more people became producers rather than simply consumers. We're all consumers, right? We all consume, and that's great, right? But it doesn't serve the world for all of us to just only be consumers, right? We want to be producers, right? Now, how do we do that? Well, you take your knowledge, your expertise, your skills, and you package it, and you promote it, and you offer it for free, and you sell it, right? That's you giving back. Technically, that's you're creating what's called the ripple effect, right? You helping one life has the ability to affect tens of thousands, hundreds, tens of other people, right? So I want you to think about it through that lens. Okay. The third thing is that I believe personally that God has a unique purpose for you to fulfill, and that you are the only one that can fulfill it. Okay. I also believe that it's best to use your strengths and the expertise that you've accumulated of your experience to serve others, right? I don't believe in using your weaknesses to serve others. That makes no sense at all. So if you take what you're good at, what you're skilled in, More importantly, what has helped you to produce results so that you can reproduce those results and be duplicatable into other people's lives, then what's happening? Well, in my opinion, you're serving others, therefore, you're making their life better. They're giving an exchange of value to you of their time and of their money, right? So they're enriching your life. I always say, bless and be blessed. Well, what's that mean? What that means is you're blessing someone else's life by giving them something that that can shortcut their learning curve, that can help them accomplish their goals, their dreams, and their aspirations, right? That's you serving someone else. And then eventually the idea here is that they pass it on. They pass that knowledge on to other people. And I truly believe that's how we make the world a better place, rather than you sitting on that knowledge, you sitting on that expertise, or you sitting on those results, right? That's not serving anybody but yourself, right? So for example, if let's say one of my clients, he's really good at selling. He made $2.4 million a year as a sales guy. Okay, crushing it, right? Doing really great for himself and his family, right? And that's awesome. But can he make a greater impact? Can he touch more people's lives? Can he make the world a better place? Can he serve a bigger role in the world? Well, yeah. So he starts helping people, right? So he starts coaching people privately. He helps them all increase their sales. Now what happens? Well, now all of the people that he helps, all of their families are being served and helped in the process, right? Think about that. Now go even bigger. Now he's like, okay, I'm ready to really help a lot more people. So now he's hosting webinars and challenges. Now he's serving tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, where they're able to take the information, they're able to apply it to their life, they're able to improve their results and get closer to their goals, aspirations, and dreams. Now we're truly making an impact. And now we're creating that, what I call ripple effect, where a rising tide raises all ships. Think about that. A rising tide raises all ships. When you're truly serving with your gifting that God's given you, then you can truly create that ripple effect, which is really the idea here, right? So that in, say, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, you're still making that impact. I mean, that's what it means to be a legacy builder, right? In 100 years from now, I want you to start thinking about this now, and I want to press on it a little bit. In 100 years from now, will you still be making an impact with your knowledge, skills, gifts, and expertise? I'm a firm believer that if we think now about how we're going to be continuing to make an impact in 3020, right? Or 3022, 100 years from now, we're much more likely to be making an impact in a decade, in 2 decades, in 3 decades than if we didn't think about it, right? So I would encourage you to think about that. What I found in business, I've been doing this for 17 years now, and I started as a teenager in my dad's business. So technically I've been in business for longer than 17 years, but in the capacity of marketing and advertising and selling on the internet and selling offline, I've seen that a lot of people are I think, very short term. And I would encourage you to think bigger, think longer. I think one of the core reasons why I've had the success that I've had over the years is because when I died and came back to life, I really had, it was really impressed upon me that my life, I'm here for a reason, that God saved my life, and that I'm called to do something that's meaningful. And I think that belief causes me to create things that create impact into the future. I believe if you have that thought, like imagine if you were to embrace that idea, right? I am a miracle. Think about it. Say that to yourself for the next 30 days. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I am a miracle, and see how your life shifts, right? It's sometimes the small things that literally make massive shifts in our life. Thinking that my life is a miracle, thinking that God has a plan and purpose for my life, and now I got to go figure out what that might be. And going on that journey to every day waking up like, God, why am I here? What is my purpose? Right? And pressing into that, you will find it. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So going back to this core question of like, do you have what it takes to use your expertise to serve others? I would ask you this question. Are the results that you have in your life or business, results that others would want. If you're not at a place where the results you have are results that others would want, then I would press upon you to go and master your craft. Get the best, become the best in the world at whatever it is that you're doing, and produce results that are outstanding that others would want. That's the first step here. The next step is go serve some other people and reproduce similar results that you've been able to produce for yourself. When you can get to a place when you have results for yourself and you have results for others, and you stack them, so you have, say, a handful or 5 to 10 other people, and you've been able to help them reproduce your results or better, then you'll be able to scale more effectively. You'll be able to serve more people. You'll be able to sell more effectively. You'll be able to sell more stuff because you have evidence, right? And so that's really the path, right? If you're questioning, well, do I really have what it takes? Or, oh, well, do people really want what I have to offer? I hear that a lot. Well, Bryan, nobody wants what I have to offer, right? And that's a core intrinsic belief about the value you provide. Stop that stinking thinking because it's really what it is, and go back to, what are the results I have? You need to ask yourself that question. And then, what are the results that I can help others produce? Combine those together and you can scale to the moon and back. Okay. What it'll also do for you is it'll give you confidence when it comes to selling. Have you ever sold something and you're not confident and you didn't make the sale? Or have you ever sold something where you were very excited and confident and convicted and sales were easy, right? Well, if your confidence isn't at the place where you need it to be yet, that's fine. You could always align your skills with someone else and help them on their journey. That's a way. That's technically what I did with affiliate marketing, right? I didn't have the skills that commanded people to pay me $17,500 for the day, right? So what did I do? I went and found great products and services that I could promote, where the results of those programs spoke for themselves. So you don't have to take yourself out of the game. I think that's the message here in this last piece is, even if you're not at a place where you have impeccable results and amazing results for others, go and get them, okay? Or serve someone else who does have those incredible, impeccable results in the market that you're going to serve, and work your way into it. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing to see how the culture and how information is shared and technology has really caught up to where this is actually possible to make a living sharing your expertise. I think a lot of people don't want to share their expertise because they're like, well, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be a celebrity or something, but they don't realize that you can actually do really, really well by creating a niche audience of people that are, learning from you, like you're sharing their value. So I think everything that you're sharing is really, really valuable and important for people to realize, like the opportunity's there.
Mm-hmm. I think, you hit on a point that I want to talk about and expand on. So I think that thought of like, oh, I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be in the limelight, or I don't want to be like associated with that. Right. I totally get that. I mean, the reality is that with someone with expertise, you will need to become a person who is educating others, is adding value in other people's lives. But I've found that that's actually very fulfilling. I don't see myself as a celebrity in any way, shape, or form. That's not how I view it. I actually view it a bit differently. I view it as serving, right? Tony once said, if you have something that's so good, that's been able to produce results for others, you have a moral obligation to share it with others to help them out in life or business. And I would say, come at it from that perspective, right? Like, what have you been able to produce in your own experience of life that are results that others would desire, right? You don't have to become famous. You don't have to become the next, Betty Crocker or the next Jack LaLanne or the next Tony Robbins, right? Like, they all have their own roles, and they've all become who they've become from decades of putting themselves out there, right? Spending enormous amounts of money to put their faces and their messages in front of people, right? There are thousands and thousands of people that you never would know who are serving a small audience, but they're killing it, making 6, making 7, making 8 figures, and you've never even heard their names before, right? So I would discontinue that thought of, oh, I don't want to be, famous, because that's not necessarily where all of this leads to.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I think that you said it well. That's not necessarily where all this leads to.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both know people that are making incredible amounts of money. They're making an incredible amount of impact.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that millions and millions of people know their name. It's that they're serving people in a really deep way.
That's right.
And they're serving them in a really specific way. So this has been amazing. And to any of our listeners where you're kind of struggling with some of those mental blocks of, man, I don't know if I want to share my expertise. I know I have expertise to share and that other people would find valuable. I encourage you to listen to this episode again. Let this be something you listen to on repeat to kind of help to unlock some of those mental barriers between that.
Yeah. And I think, Seth, I think what's powerful is that, when you're on the other side, right? Like I've been on the other side of sharing knowledge and expertise. And I think when you see the impact of it, like the tangible impact in marriages being saved or restored, or people's financial situations being completely turned upside down on their head, meaning going from in the hole to making tens of millions a year, and to see what they're able to do with that from a contribution perspective, I think your mind shifts. And so I would encourage you to dream about what is the impact that you could make into other people's lives by stepping up and sharing and being vulnerable and being willing to share the journey that you've gone through, right? I've heard so many stories over the years that literally will rock you to your core. If it wasn't for stepping out and being vulnerable and doing these activities of sharing expertise, those lives might have never changed or never been transformed. And so I think that also becomes a driver eventually when you're on the other side of it. You begin to be able to point back to situations and scenarios and experiences of people where they went from here to here, or they went from here to here. They went, from broke to financially free, or they went from, in a terrible relationship to married and happy. And so that, once you see this happen over and over and over again, you begin to have a deeper reason why it's so important to put yourself out there. Because, the reality is it's not comfortable. These are not activities you're not used to doing, right? So it's going to take some new skills, right? I mean, I think back when I first started doing video production back in 2008, 2009, those videos were horrendous, right? But I did it. I did it anyways, no matter how horrendous and how goofy I was at the time. You get better. You get better. And every time you do it, you get better. So I would just embrace that mindset of constant improvement. In the beginning, you're going to suck. I mean, I think Garrett White said it best, right? He said, in the beginning, you're going to suck, and then you're going to suck less, and then you're going to suck a little bit less, and then eventually you'll become great. But it's not through embracing that period of this isn't awesome, right? This sucks. This looks bad. This blah, 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 whatever it might be for your scenario. We're always going to be more critical of ourselves than others are critical of us, right? That's normal. So it's normal for all of us, right? That doesn't, like, we're not a special unicorn that doesn't happen to us, right? We all have thoughts that go through our mind about that. So I would just encourage you to think about others, think about service, think about the impact and the ripple effect that you can make that's going to go on for future generations. Let that be the driver, not you being discomfort, you being uncomfortable, or you being looking silly, or whatever it might be for you, right? Like, we've all got these mental blocks and barriers that are getting in the way of us doing things. The world needs you to step up. God needs you to step up to fulfill your purpose. He's waiting on you to take the first step.
Love it. You never know what's on the other side. And, like you said, people's lives are going to change when you share what has changed your life and what results you've created. So to the listeners out there, we hope this has been valuable for you. We encourage you to be willing to and be excited to share your expertise to see how many people's lives are changed on the other side of that. Thanks so much for sharing today, Bryan.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me on Legacy Builders, and I would encourage you to come back to the next episode next week to get more clarity on your journey to launch your expertise online, scale your impact, and build your legacy. If you're ready to get the process started of launching your expertise online the right way, then I recommend go to launchexpertise.com, or maybe you're at a place where you're ready to really scale your expertise and your impact. Go to launchexpertise.com. There you'll have several options. Number one, you can get a free copy of my brand new book, The Entrepreneur Evangelist, which I share the secrets that have unlocked more than $300 million of results for my clients, my partners, and our own campaigns. You could also join a 33 days of coaching with me that's free, where I give you insights and wisdom on your journey to launching your expertise and scaling your impact over the course of 33 days. And that's worth at least $5,000, but for right now, you can get it for free. And lastly, if you're someone who wants to take the absolute faster, smarter path when it comes to launching your expertise online and scaling your impact, I'd recommend scheduling a call with my team where we can see how we can support you to crush goals and generate 7 or 8 figures yourself in a short period of time. We have more awards than nearly anyone in the entire community, and for good reason. And we would love to help you just like we've helped them. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Legacy Builders.